Welcome to Mindful Objective, the podcast where we uncover the root causes behind your symptoms and give you practical, integrative tools to support real healing. I'm your host, Dr. Daniel Sproul, integrative health practitioner and professor. Today we're tackling weight loss, which is a subject that's frustrating for many, including myself. Not just losing a few pounds for vacation, but creating long-term changes that make your body work better, feel better, and stay balanced. There's a lot of noise out there, fad diets, before and after photos, extreme workouts, and unfortunately, a lot of shame when those things don't work. This episode's about what really works, what doesn't, and how to understand your body's unique needs through lab testing, strategic supplementation, and smarter nutrition, not restriction. As always, this podcast for educational purposes only. We do not diagnose, treat, or cure any illness or disease. So let's go ahead and get into it. The phrase eat less, move more is still one of the most repeated mantras in weight loss world. It sounds simple, even logical. After all, if you burn more calories than you take in, you should lose weight, right? But in real life results and modern science tells a different story. For many people, this basic equation completely falls apart. It's not because they lack willpower, it's because their biology is working against them. So let's go ahead and break it down further. When you start cutting calories and increasing physical activity, your body initially responds. You may lose weight the first week or two, mostly water or glycogen, but something shifts. Hunger increases, energy decreases, your workouts feel harder, and cravings start creeping in. This isn't failure in motivation, it's your body's activating a survival response. From an evolutionary standpoint, weight loss signals famine. So your body fights back. Cortisol levels rise, increasing stress and inflammation. Thyroid hormone production drops, especially T3, which is essential for metabolic rate. Hunger hormones like ghrelin surge are making this constantly think about food. Another thing is leptin, right? The hormone that tells your brain you're full falls, meaning you rarely feel satisfied. Muscle mass may start breaking down, reducing metabolic rate even further. Yeah, and that's why fasting is not for everybody. There's a lot of people out there fast a lot and actually gain weight. This is what's known as adaptive thermogenesis, your body adapting to calorie restriction by becoming more efficient with fewer resources. But in practical terms, you burn fewer calories even if you're doing the same amount of work. And worse, once you return to normal eating, your metabolism is still suppressed, leading to rebound weight gain, which is so common. Many of our clients come to us after trying every diet imaginable. They're eating 1,200 calories a day, doing fasted cardio, loading up on caffeine and fat-burning supplements, and still not losing weight. Some are even gaining. Why? Because they're stuck in that metabolic stress loop. This is where functional lab testing becomes a game changer. So rather than guessing, we run targeted panels to see what's really going on. A full thyroid panel, not just TSH. This will include free T3, free T4, reverse T3, and even the antibodies. Many people are functionally hypothyroid, meaning their labs are technically normal, but still insufficient for healthy metabolism. Another one we do is a 4-point cortisol stress test, or Dutch hormone panel, which maps stress hormone rhythm across the day. If cortisol is dysregulated, high at night, low in the morning, or flat all day, fat loss is significantly harder for people. Another test is fasting insulin and glucose. This helps us understand how your body's managing blood sugar. High fasting insulin equals fat storage mode. And the other test we always talk about is organic acid test. This will assess your mitochondrial energy production, detoxification pathways, neurotransmitter metabolites, and a lot more. With the data on hand, we personalize a plan that doesn't tell you eat cleaner, exercise harder. Instead, we want to support the body from the root. If cortisol is high, we may supplement with ashwagandha or relora to calm the HB axis and lower stress levels. If thyroid output is low, we may support conversion by selenium, zinc, and vitamin A, or use different types of thyroid supplementation. For high insulin, we might use berberine, chromium, or ALA to improve insulin sensitivity. For fatigue, mitochondrial support like CoQ10, carnitine, or NAD precursors can be helpful too. We also evaluate nutrient intake. Is the person eating enough protein? Are they getting enough fiber and healthy fats? Are they stuck in a restrictive mindset that's adding to the problem? A lot of people think, eat less and you'll lose weight. But that's not true. Here's the truth. You cannot starve your way into health. Sustainable fat loss doesn't come from eating less and less. Comes from fueling the body correctly, managing stress, sleeping well, and aligning your hormone rhythm. Eat for energy. That's why we push so hard. Food tracking, right? Track your food. See actually how you're eating. See your nutrient levels. And a lot of people do not know that. So that's a first step you should take. Start food tracking, a food diary. So once our clients start eating more, especially protein, regulating their blood sugar, and lowering stress with targeted supplementation, weight loss begins again, but naturally. We're not saying counting calories don't matter. They do, but they're not the only factor. Hormones, nutrient density, inflammation, gut health, and nervous system regulation all are major players. So next time you feel tempted to cut back even further or adding high intensity workout to your week, ask yourself, is your body in place to burn fat or is it just trying to survive? Again, eat for energy. Let's talk about something most weight loss programs ignore entirely: metabolic flexibility. This is your body's ability to switch between burning carbohydrates and fat for fuel. When you're metabolically flexible, you can go several hours without eating, avoid energy crashes, and tap into stored body fat when needed. When you're inflexible, the opposite happens. You rely heavily on carbohydrates, crave food constantly, and struggle with stubborn fat, especially around the midsection. This isn't about what you eat. It's about your metabolism function. So how does metabolic flexibility even break down? A metabolically flexible body shifts between burning glucose, which is sugar, and fatty acids, depending on when and what's available. During a high-carb meal, your body efficiently uses glucose for energy. When you're in a fasted state or doing low-intensity exercise, it should still be able to switch to fat burning. But modern lifestyles have damaged this ability. Constant snacking, stress, poor sleep, and ultra-processed food trains your body to run almost exclusively on sugar. Not good. This creates a dependency that leads to energy crashes, poor fat burning, and will increase inflammation. It's not about excess weight. It's about foundational issue with how your body makes energy. Here are common signs of metabolic inflexibility. You feel shaky, irritable, or angry when you skip meals. You get tired after eating or need caffeine to function. You crave carbs or sweets daily. You gain weight easily, especially around the belly. Your workouts feel harder than they should. We use simple lab tests to detect dysfunction. Fasting insulin, we're looking for healthy levels. Higher levels mean your body's stuck in storage mode and not accessing fat stores properly. Glyceride to HDL ratio, a ratio above 2.0, suggests poor fat metabolism and insulin resistance. Hemoglobin A1C and fasting glucose. Elevated levels can show poor blood sugar control, even if you're not a diabetic. Once we identify that someone metabolically is inflexible, we shift from eat less, move more to a planned focus on retraining your metabolism. This doesn't mean cutting out all the carbs and doing hours of cardio. Instead, we focus on building metabolic flexibility through nutrition, right? We may start with moderate carb approach that includes quality protein, healthy fats, slow digesting carbs like root vegetables and legumes. Over time, we might introduce timed carbohydrates intake. And a lot of times we do this around workouts to enhance glycogen storage and metabolic signaling. Intermittent fasting can help, but it's not for everyone. We may recommend a 12 to 14 hour overnight fast just to get started, slowly increasing if energy and sleep remain stable. For some, especially for those with adrenal issues or poor sleep, fasting may worsen symptoms, and we avoid it until blood sugar is better managed. Another one is exercise strategy. Metabolic flexibility improves with strength training and low-intensity movement, but high-intensity training has its place. Too much can elevate cortisol and impair recovery. For many clients, a mix of resistance training 3 to 4 times a week, daily walking, and some fasted cardio works pretty well. Supplements that do help is berberine. This mimics insulin, improves glucose uptake, and supports microbiome diversity. Chromium and alpha lipoic acid, ALA, these help regulate blood sugar and reduce cravings. L-carnitine supports fat oxidation by transporting fatty acids into the mitochondria for energy production. Magnesium, this is required for over 300 enzyme processes, including those involved in insulin regulation. Clients often report more stable energy, fewer cravings, and improved mental clarity within 2 to 4 weeks of improving metabolic flexibility. And the best part? Weight loss becomes easier. Not because they're eating less, but because their metabolism is finally working for them. We also explore mitochondrial health, which is directly linked to metabolic flexibility. If your mitochondria, which is the energy factors of your cells, are sluggish, fat loss is nearly impossible. This is where advanced labs like organic acid tests come in handy, that oat test. It shows markers related to energy production, B vitamin status, carnitine levels, and oxidative stress. In some cases, we may support mitochondria by CoQ10, PQQ, B complex with active forms of methylfolate and methylcobalamin. It's time to stop blaming yourself for slow metabolism or constant hunger. These are not character flaws. They are psychological adaptations. When your body metabolism becomes more flexible, everything gets easier. This is where we need to have a real talk. Clean eating is about health badge that most people think it is. In fact, for many, it becomes a prison. No sugar, no dairy, no gluten, no grains, no fruit, no oils, no fun. At first, the strict approach can feel empowering. You're eliminating bad foods, right? You're taking control and often seeing some early weight loss. But after a few weeks or months, something shifts, the weight stalls, your energy drops, and you feel stressed every time you eat. And your social life disappears. It's not fun. Clean eating taken to the extreme can actually harm your metabolism, gut health, and mental well-being. Many of our clients who follow these restrictive diets long-term end up with nutrient deficiencies from eliminating entire food groups, anxiety around eating and fear of food, gut imbalances from lack of fiber diversity, plateaus or rebound weight gain when they return to normal eating. This hyper-focus on clean often leads to something called orthorexia. It's an unhealthy obsession while eating pure foods, and while the intention might be rooted in health, end result is stress, rigidity, and eventually burnout. So what's a better approach? We teach clients to prioritize balance, variety, and sustainability, not rigid perfection. This is where a food sensitivity test might be right for you. How is your body responding to certain foods? And let's base it off that. The goal is to nourish the body, support the gut health, and reduce stress, not create a lifestyle that's impossible to maintain. We have to think long term. But it's another good subject. Let's talk about gut health. A diverse fed microbiome is essential for weight regulation, hormone balance, and inflammation control. And your gut bacteria thrive on a wide array of fibers from fruits, veggies, legumes, whole grains, and even certain dairy or fermented foods. When your diet becomes too restrictive, your gut microbiome loses its diversity. That can actually promote weight gain, bloating, and low energy. That's why we run functional tests like comprehensive stool tests to understand the gut flora. Look for hidden pathogens and measure inflammation markers. Another one is organic acid tests, right? We want to assess the beneficial bacteria activity, yeast overgrowth, and short-chain fatty acid production. May run even a micronutrient panel to evaluate common deficiency in iron, magnesium, B12, zinc, vitamin A. These are all crucial for energy and metabolism and your immune function. Once we understand where the breakdown is, we customize a rebalancing plan. Here's often what we usually recommend. Let's reintroduce nourishing foods that have unnecessarily been eliminated. This could be pasture-raised eggs, Greek yogurt, properly prepared legumes, or gluten-free oats. Digestive support like digestive enzymes or betaine and HCI. A lot of times we use these for sluggish digestion or symptoms like bloating after meals. Probiotic rotation using targeted strains depending on lab finding. It depends if we tackle for yeast or gut lining repair or even soil-based products to promote diversity. Prebiotics are another good one, such as guam sugar, inulin, and resistant starch to feed beneficial microbiomes and restore balance. And a big one we always say is stress reduction strategies during meals, because how you eat is just as important as what you eat. Slow meals, chewing thoroughly, avoiding eating in a rush are often overlooked but incredibly impactful. We also look at the food relationship. As many of you by now, I do not have a good relationship with food, and it was from going through these issues. It's easy to fully eliminate things because you're trying to lose weight, but it causes more problems. So are you labeling foods as good and bad? Do you feel guilt after eating carbs? Are you skipping social events because the food isn't clean enough? These are all red flags, right? Think of things going on through your mind. What do you think about? Instead of clean, aim for intelligent eating, a method that works in your body, with your body. This means making sure each meal contains protein, fiber, and healthy fats, choosing nutrient-dense foods 80-90% of the time without stressing over the rest. Gotta enjoy life still. Learning to identify how foods make you feel, not just what someone on Instagram says is healthy. These different foods and supplements and stuff are not for everyone. Everybody's individual, so you can't just blindly follow what's out there. Trial and error, but that's where food tracking comes in. Again, start food tracking, food sensitivity tests, organic acid test, run blood work, see what your body's actually doing and how you're responding versus just going off of a fad diet or something you did see on social media that says, oh yeah, like everybody for a while was eating kale. Then a lot of people found out kale was very bad for them specifically. But if they would have blindly kept eating it, what was it doing to their body? Even though it's healthy for some, it's not healthy for everyone. Sometimes the best thing for your metabolism is actually adding food back in, not taking more out. We've seen clients start losing weight after reintroducing root veggies, adding fruit to their smoothies, and relaxing food rules that are stressing their nervous system. One client was stuck with the same weight for about 8 months. She cut out dairy, grains, sugar, and alcohol. Her energy was low, sleep was poor, and she was constantly bloated. So think, she was bloated with eliminating all those things. After running labs, we saw her gut bacteria were depleted. She had low B12 and low iron. We reintroduced fermented dairy, added probiotic, and used B-complex. Took about 4 weeks. Her digestion improved, her energy picked up, and the scale started moving again. That was without changing her workout. It was without cutting calories. So again, it's not always food's the enemy. Food is not the enemy. In fact, food is often the missing solution when you understand how to use it strategically. Let's talk about what every person and weight loss journey dreads, the plateau effect. You've been making changes, seeing results, feeling good, and then all of a sudden, boom, progress grinds to a halt. The scale doesn't move, your clothes feel the same. You're even doing more, eating cleaner, exercising harder, but nothing's working. Frustrating feeling. This is where you do not want to be, right? And that's where most people panic. They either double down on restrictions, thinking they need to tighten up, or throw the towel in altogether because they just want to give up. But here's the truth, plateaus are normal. In fact, they're not just common, they're biological adaptation designed to keep you alive. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. Your body's incredibly smart. When it detects that you're taking in less energy than usual, this is usually by eating fewer calories or expending more energy through exercise, and a lot of people overdo it on exercise, it initially starts tapping into the fat stores. That's the weight loss we see in the beginning, but over time, the body becomes more efficient. It adapts by slowing down metabolic processes, decreasing energy output, and conserving resources. It's often referred as adaptive thermogenesis. This is your body adjusting to the survive in the famine state. Other factors can add to this slowdown, such as thyroid hormone production may drop, especially T3 from the active form, which regulates metabolism. Cortisol may rise to stress or overtraining, which signals the body to hold on to fat. Leptin, the hormone that signals fullness, falls, making you even hungrier. Gut function may become impaired, especially if you're eating less and getting less fiber and variety. So instead of seeing a plateau as failure, view it as a message. Your body's telling you something needs to shift, not just your willpower, but your strategy. Step 1, reassess with functional labs. We don't just guess, we test. If someone hits a plateau in the program, we often rerun or add labs to uncover what shifted under the surface. Some of the go-to tests, that comprehensive thyroid panel, TSH, free T3, free T4, reverse T3 and antibodies. A Dutch test or a cortisol test to understand your hormone rhythms. GI-FX or GI map, which is a stool test to identify hidden pathogens, dysbiosis, or inflammation. Our popular organic acid test to evaluate that mitochondrial function, detox pathways, and nutrient needs. We may also run that micronutrient panel to understand deficiencies like zinc, magnesium, and CoQ10. Once we see how the body's struggling, we design a support strategy that meets your current needs. Again, you as a specific individual, not generalized, but specific to how your body's functioning. So not just what works in week 1, but beyond. Step 2, let's adjust food and exercise intelligently. Instead of cutting more calories or adding more cardio, we often do the opposite. Reverse dieting. This involves slowly increasing your daily calories, often by 50 to 100 per week, while tracking biofeedback like energy, mood, and digestion. This can stimulate leptin, thyroid, and metabolic rate. Again, reverse dieting, increasing your calories, not decreasing. Another one would be carb cycling or refeed days. For those who've been low carbs too long, adding strategic high carbs daily, especially on workout days, can restore hormone balance and fuel performance. Another one we want to do is change your exercise stimulus. Swap long cardio for resistance training. Add restorative movements like walking or yoga. Sometimes more intensity isn't the answer, and you may need recovery instead. Step 3 would be targeted supplementation. Certain supplements can nudge the body out of plateau, especially when paired with data. Adaptogens like rhodiola or holy basil, these will help regulate cortisol. Mitochondrial support like CoQ10, PQQ, L-carnitine, or NAD precursors. Thyroid cofactors like selenium, iodine, if indicated, and also zinc. Digestive aids if bloating or constipation are stalling or nutrient absorption issues. If there's gut inflammation or low beneficial bacteria, we may also recommend L-glutamine to support the gut lining. Prebiotics to feed beneficial bacteria. Probiotics tailored to your test results. Here's one client example. Sarah, she had lost 20 pounds and then stalled for 3 months. Her lab showed low cortisol in the morning and high cortisol at night. She also had poor T3 to T4 conversion and low shorty chain fatty acids on her stool test. We added ashwagandha, reintroduced carbohydrates at dinner, and had her stop high-intensity workouts for 2 weeks. What was the result? Her sleep improved, cravings dropped, and weight loss resumed without further restriction. Again, it wasn't reducing, it was increasing. Step 4, let's zoom out. Sometimes the issue isn't biological. It's behavioral or emotional. Are you truly consistent? Are you sleeping well? Have you started sneaking extra snacks or skipping meals without realizing it? Is stress quietly sabotaging progress? Track food, sleep, mood, energy, cravings, bowel movements, and exercise. Patterns emerge fast when you have that data. Food tracking is important. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. It's progress with awareness. Plateaus aren't the enemy. They're your body's way of communicating with the right tools, functional labs, strategic nutrition, targeted supplementation, and a dose of patience. You can break through. Let's get into the part of the weight loss plans completely overlooked. Your mindset, emotions, and your identity. This isn't just think positive and believe in yourself. It's about understanding how your mental and emotional patterns shape your physiology and ultimately your ability to lose weight and keep it off. We work with countless clients who are doing all the right things, eating well, exercising, taking the right supplements, and still not seeing progress. In nearly every case, there was underlying mental or emotional block. Fear of being seen or drawing attention. Deep-rooted identity or always being the big one or the unhealthy one. Stress eating or binge restrict cyclings driven by emotions, not hunger. Subconscious beliefs that success isn't safe or sustainable. Trauma that's never been addressed but still drives behavior. This is where we shift from looking at just the body to understanding the whole person. We often start by asking clients these questions. What would change in your life if the weight came off tomorrow? Are you afraid of being seen in a new way by your partner, peers, or even yourself? Do you truly believe you're allowed to feel good and be healthy? Is food your only source of comfort, reward, and control? These aren't easy questions, but they're an open door for real breakthroughs. From a psychological standpoint, emotional stress triggers the same cascade of hormones as physical stress. These can be cortisol spikes, digestion slows, insulin rises, and your body holds on to weight in a protective mechanism. It's not a weakness, it's a survival biology. Chronic emotional stress also affects sleep, appetite regulation, and mood, all critical for fat loss. This is why we test, not to just validate symptoms, but to see where your nervous system is and your brain chemistry may be out of balance. Some of those labs are that Dutch test, 4-point cortisol. We may even do a neurotransmitter test, urine or O panels, melatonin markers for circadian rhythm and balance, micronutrient testing for B vitamins, magnesium, zinc, omega-3s. These all support your central nervous system's health. We may also spot imbalances we layer targeted support for. GABA, L-theanine, magnesium glycinate for calming anxious patterns, SAMe or even methylated B-folate, B12 for mood and motivation, adaptogens like rhodiola, ashwagandha for emotional resilience, 5-HTP or tryptophan for serotonin support. Again, use with caution only when appropriate. But supplements alone aren't enough. This is where we bring somatic practices and nervous system regulation into the equation. Breath work and vagus nerve exercises to calm that fight or flight response. Body-based therapies like chiropractic care, massage, or EMDR. Emotional journaling prompts such as, what am I afraid will happen if I succeed? Where did I learn that food equals comfort or love? What part of me benefits from staying stuck? We've seen people break through year-long plateaus, not just changing their food, but by changing their thoughts. When you stop fighting your body and start listening, things shift. Take our client Miguel, for example. He struggled with yo-yo dieting for over a decade. His labs were stable and his weight wouldn't budge. When we dug deeper, we found he was raised in a household where food was love. Not just finishing your plate was disrespectful, but every time he tried portion control, guilt flooded in. Once he became aware of the emotional tie, we worked on mindful eating, self-compassion, and letting go of inherited patterns. 3 weeks later, he started dropping weight for first time in months, with no changes to food or exercise. This is the power of emotional integration. This doesn't mean you're broken. It means your nervous system and brain are trying to protect you based on past experiences. When we rewire protection, your body starts to trust the process again. And maybe you just need that health coach there for you. Maybe you need support. To truly achieve sustainable weight loss, you must address both external plan and internal reality. No supplement, workout, or meal plan can outwork a brain that feels unsafe for changing. In our practice, we honor both. We use the data from functional labs to support biochemistry, and we hold space for real emotional work that changes everything. As we close out this episode, remember this. Weight loss isn't just physical. It's deeply tied into how you feel about yourself, what you've been through, and what you believe is possible. That sums it up for this episode. Thanks for tuning in to Mindful Objective. If today's episode opened your eyes to how complex and personal weight loss really is, know this. You're not failing. You're just given incomplete tools. Real progress comes when you address the full picture, your metabolism, your gut, your hormones, your mindset, your unique biochemistry. At our practice, we combine functional lab testing, personalized products, personalized protocols, and targeted supplementations to help you finally understand your body and work with it, not against it. Visit mindfulobjective.com to explore our lab kits, schedule a free discovery call, or access our practitioner-grade supplements. Always 20% off retail, more affordable than Amazon. You don't need another diet. You need a strategy that's tailored for you as an individual. If you have a question you'll answer it on a future episode, head to mindfulobjective.com/podcast and submit it. We'd love to feature you in one of our episodes. Reminder, the information provided on this podcast is for educational purposes only. It's not intended to replace medical care, diagnose any condition, or serve as individualized health advice. Always consult your licensed healthcare provider before making any health decisions. So until next time, remember your body is always communicating. The key is learning how to listen. Stay well.